So that is about animal cell. Plant cell we have done vacuole, we have done cell wall, we have done plastics. After that, special properties of cell membrane we have to study, and under the special properties of cell membrane, what did we study? Endosmosis, permeability we studied.
And then we studied also like chromoplasts and
that is about the nucleus. That chromoplast, that is about the plastics. About plastics we studied that. And next is what we studied about. Cell membrane, and under cell membrane we studied permeability, that is endosmosis, exosmosis. So these are the basic topics in this chapter that you have to study. We'll just do 2-3 questions, and then we'll wind up with this chapter today, and then start with the next chapter, tissues. Take out your. Did we do these questions? Check. If you have done, then we are already done. If we haven't done, then we pick up some questions from here. Turn to page number 88. Is it there? Page number 88. Page number 88. Check there. Keep answering some questions. You may take number 1. Tick karo. Number 1. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5.
5, 6 you give homework.
Did you do? Then homework I always give, but you don't do the homework. Now you did? Very good. In a piece of paper. In your book. And the book is at home. It is here. Super. What about you? Because today, nowadays, most students give new excuses. When we were students, we used to tell the teacher, no, ma'am, we forgot to do it. We were very honest at that time. So now, children would say, we did the homework, but we left it on the table. We did the homework, but we left it on the car. We did the homework, but the book got lost. So that is why I am asking you, what is your excuse? You did the homework. You brought the book. Is it there? Sit down. और कौन है इस बैच में और भी है ना और बाकी लोग कहाँ गए? चलो, now do these questions at the same time. I'm going to check your notebook, but I will give you only 10 minutes to do this work because I'm supposed to start the next chapter today. What are the questions I asked you to take? Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those homework, so you will finish it at one go. And that's it. Number 8. Number 8. Number 8. Go to the next set of questions. 15, 16 set of questions. Number 5. You're going to do it in the volume itself. Number 5. You got a pencil. Number 5. You are going to do it in the volume itself. Number 5 in the volume itself. Number 5 in the volume itself. And then rest of the questions you will go through. These are basically the practical based questions. NCERT questions you will go through, answers are already there. So now I am giving you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 8. And number 5 from the next section, which is a flowchart to be done in the book itself. Come on. Not more than 10 minutes, because we'll start with the next chapter. This is after a long time we are meeting again. That's why a little bit of a revision. And then we start with the next chapter. Did you get the questions?
5, 6, and this was.
Did we do it earlier?
And this,
What are these?
These were.
These I gave you separate questions.
Separate questions, and then these were the questions from
Homework.
What makes lysosomes such effective digestive bags? Then what is fundamental of life?
So that means you are left with question number 1.
Question number 1, 3, 4, and 7, 8.
8. Karo. Fatafat karo. From 15 minutes, you are supposed to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8.
And 6 is done, 1 is done.
So now you find out which one you have done, which not. I am going to correct your notebook today. I give you only 15 minutes to finish this work. You have a doubt, you will ask.
which gives red color to tomato and purple color to
Chromoplast. Chromoplast. Chromo. Chloro is green. Chromoplast.
What are epidermal cells?
Epidermal cells are the uppermost layer of cells of the leaves. They produce a waxy substance known as cuticle, which prevents the evaporation of water, which prevents the loss of water from the leaf. It is there in tissues, I suppose. Which is that part is there. Is it here? It is not here. It is actually in tissues.
So the pilot asked,
Question is there. No? Maybe either this question should have been in the second chapter, or else you may write and keep the answer. You may write and keep the answer because epidermis and all these things we study in tissues chapter.
epidermal cells are
Epidermis. You all can write at the same time which question it is.
question number 4A.
4. Question number 4A. You may write down the answer. Take a note. Write down the answer. This is probably we will again come up with this concept. We will come across in the next chapter tissues. Okay. What are epidermal cells? Say suppose when I draw the section of the leaf. When I am drawing the section of a leaf, the section of a leaf generally shows that there are some layers of cells. So I am talking about that it has got some layers of cells like this. So the uppermost layer of cells, this uppermost layer of cells is what we will talk about as epidermis. This is the epidermis. And this epidermis constantly keeps on secreting certain substances. What is the substance that it produces? It produces a waxy coat known as cuticle. Because of the cuticle present, the water loss is lesser. For example, if I talk about leaves like the mango and all these, no, they are at a higher height, and then the water loss would have been much more. The plant would have been dried out faster. That is not generally happening. Even in this heat, also we come across that the plants look still fresh because they generally have those waxy coat and which minimizes the loss of water. Minimizes loss of water, conservation of water in the plants. Right up? Epidermal cells or epidermis. What did I tell you? Epidermal cells are the uppermost layer of cells. Are the uppermost layer of cells in leaves. Are the 4B. Are the uppermost layer of cells in leaves. Uppermost layer of cells in leaves, which produces a waxy coat. which produces a waxy coat known as
uppermost layer of the cell.
uppermost layer of cells in leaves, which produces a waxy coat known as cuticle. Cuticle, which produces a waxy coat known as cuticle. Produces a waxy coat known as cuticle. Okay. This layer prevents the loss of water by evaporation. This layer prevents loss of water by evaporation. This layer prevents loss of water by evaporation.
Not only to this layer.
Prevents the loss of water by evaporation. This layer prevents loss of water by evaporation. Too fast, too fast. I'll not give you more than 15 minutes. Huh? We should start with the next chapter today. Don't take a whole lot of time to finish these 5 questions. Fast, fast, fast. If you have a doubt, ask me and finish up fast. School has started with which chapter now? Cell. School started after holidays.
Now we got the the portion of term also. It is like macroeconomic and economic.
We will proceed with this portion. Your exam portion we are already finished. Basically, in your first exam, you will have either half of this chapter said or maybe full chapter in substance. But it is not that we will again revise on this. We will move on with the portion. Yes, in between, as you read, if there are some doubts, confusion, you may ask me questions. And now that I take the next chapter, I'll be moving on with the next chapter. But anytime I will just give you a short 5 to 10 mark test in between on the previous chapter. So that way it becomes a revision. But specifically, we will not take revision now. Understood? So you will keep reading the chapter, maybe to the next lecture, when I teach issues, I may just give you a 5 mark, 10 mark test on cell. So that way I will do the revision. What happened? Why are you not writing where you are stuck? Tell me.
In the phenomena that result in the shrinkage of the cell when they are
Name the phenomena which results in shrinkage of the cell. Exoosmosis. Name the phenomena which results in shrinkage of cells. Shrinkage of cells. Process which brings about shrinkage of cells is always exoosmosis. We have learned endoosmosis and exoosmosis. The other day I had explained to you with solutions. The behavior of a cell in a solution. When does exoosmosis happen? When will a cell show exoosmosis? When placed in a hypertonic solution. And when will a cell show endoosmosis? Hypotonic. So this concept you'll have to remember.
when osmosis cell begins pressed and shaking.
When placed in a hypertonic solution, the cell will start giving away water, exoosmosis, and the cell will now become smaller and shrunk. Right? Doubt? Bolo. Huh?
Questioning.
Bolo.
Draw a well-labeled diagram of the eukaryotic cell.
Eukaryotic ki prokaryotic hai?
Eukaryotic.
Eukaryotic hai. I think it's not prokaryotic. Draw a well-labeled diagram of a eukaryotic cell. The nucleus plays a central role in the cellular reproduction. Okay, now this diagram I am not asking you to draw because you already have drawn the diagram of the animal cell. There is one diagram that I want you to draw. Not this. Where is the diagram gone? Okay, there's a question that is draw the diagram of the nucleus separately. That is what is very important here. Okay. Draw the diagram of eukaryotic cell that I gave you. You just leave that question now because diagram of the eukaryotic cell means you are drawing the diagram of an animal cell or a plant cell. So now no need of drawing. We will practice that separately. But now then in that case move on to page 82. 82. I'm sorry, 82. No, 92. 92, fill in the blanks and state true, false you will do. 92, fill in the blanks, true, false you will do. And then move on to page number 94. Move on to page number 94. And Question number 1. Question number 34, page 94, question 34. 94, question 34. This one. Number 36. Here you number 36, can you see there? It's written number 36. If you see there, it is written why the lysosome is known as digestive bag. I think already you have written an answer. No? Did you? Why is the lysosome known as digestive bag? You've written that answer, so you know now what to write. But something that is yet to be remembered is question number 42, no need for you. Just cancel that. That term is not there for you. No need. Question number 42. The rest, I am not doing it now, but we will go through. You have a doubt, then we will tell. Because more or less I have the repetition here there. Number 36, just modify the question. Discuss the structure. No need. Draw the diagram of nucleus. This is what I have given others also. Other batches. Draw the diagram of nucleus. That counts at times. 36. Draw the diagram of nucleus. Start from there in your notebook.
So we have to put this.
Structure function, you know, once are already there in the volume, I have taught you. No point of again doing the same thing. There you just write a new question, draw the structure of nucleus, and now start doing with that. Take it back. Draw the structure of nucleus. Let us do that. And then you move on. Draw the structure of nucleus, draw this. Come on, make it fast, make it fast. Draw the structure of the nucleus, do it in your notebook. Fast.
And now one question is remaining, so can I do that?
हाँ पहले ये कर लो फटाफट. Do 36 and after that take the fill in the blanks true false. And from that first set of question, if anything is remaining, finish up 5 and then go. Now you do that question number 36 which I modified. Take this first, diagram of the nucleus. Draw a well-labeled diagram of the nucleus. Draw a well-labeled diagram of the nucleus. This is sometimes for 2 marks you are asked. Draw a well-labeled diagram of the nucleus. Draw a well-labeled diagram of the nucleus. Why there's no pencil in your pouch? It's so strange.
No, ma'am, I had it, but I think I lost it in school. I gave it in school.
Your parent gave you only one pencil right at the beginning of the year. That is not possible only.
No, ma'am, I had one in my pouch and
Huh?
I think I lost it.
Parents bring packets and packets of pencils and you are not having a single pencil. Should I call your parent and tell them that you are not having a single pencil also in the pouch to draw the diagrams? And you are drawing the diagram with a pen. In the previous chapter also, when now in this chapter teaches there will be so many diagrams to draw. Right from the start there will be diagrams. I think to draw all the diagrams with a pen there. Every time I keep on telling you, whenever you are coming for physics and biology, you know that pencil should, and for a student, you are not going for any management classes, no, that you just take a pen and go. You are still school students, you are supposed to have your pencil, eraser, sharpener, etc. Full. Parents do give. Why are you not able to take care? You are 9th standard students, not small children, no anymore. No compass. I did not ask you to draw a complete circle, a perfect circle. You are not drawing. Biology diagrams freehand. Biology diagrams you will draw freehand. It is not a perfect circle to draw. Make it fast, improve your speed. Fast. Complete this question, draw the diagram of nucleus. Now straight away move on to fill in the blanks, true, false. You have a confusion, ask. Don't get stuck and waste time.
And the cell wall is found in the cells of plants, fungi, and
Bacteria. Finish up the diagram. You are taking too long to draw this small diagram. Not more than 5 minutes. Go to fill in the blanks, true, false, fast. Should be very fast in your work. Answers you will write in the volume only. No need wasting time writing down the questions there. But fast.
The wall of plants to prevent bursting of cell in hypothalamus.
Hypotonic. The pond and the lake, the water outside the plants is all hypotonic. No?
Cells are enclosed by plasma membrane
Composed of, what is the composition of plasma membrane? Lipids and proteins. Lipids and proteins.
And plastids found in the plant cells are of two types, chlorophyll and leucoplastic.
Plastids are of two types: chloroplasts, chromoplasts, leucoplasts. Three types. Any two: chloroplast, chromoplast.
Chloroplasts that contain dash are called chloroplasts.
Chloroplast.
That contains dash are called chloroplasts.
Plastids that contain chlorophyll are called chloroplasts.
Chromoplast that contains green pigment are called.
Plastids, what is the statement starts with what?
Chloroplasts
Chloroplasts that contain
that contain dash
are
called chloroplasts.
the sentence should be plastids that contain, you may correct that. Plastids that contain chlorophyll are known as chloroplasts. Chloroplasts that contain chlorophyll are known as chloroplasts. How the sentence is wrong? Plastids that contain chlorophyll are called chloroplasts. Plastids that contain chlorophyll are called chloroplasts.
Leucoplasts, the primary function
Storage.
Leucoplasts, storage of oil granules, oil droplets.
Plastids that contain
Plastids that contain chlorophyll are called chloroplasts. Chlorophyll are called chloroplasts. Speed up, speed up, speed up.
One nucleus in eukaryotes is separated from the cytoplasm by nuclear membrane.
the cells which do not have membrane bound organelles are called dashes.
Okay. Do not contain membrane bound organelles are prokaryote.
The large central vacuole of plant cell helps to maintain the dash of the cell.
The genetic shape of the cell. The genetic shape of the cell.
One, the primary function of fibroblast.
Store oil droplets. Store oil droplets. Store oil droplets.
True or false? The cell's external environment concentration of carbon dioxide is high. In the cell's external environment, concentration of carbon dioxide is high.
Cell's external environment carbon dioxide concentration is high. True.
Cell of onion TV or say
Exhaust is what better in this like the water enters the
Enters leave. The water leaves. Exo. Leaving. Endo. Entering. Endo means inside. Speed up. Speed up.
cellulose provides structural strength to plant.
Cell wall is still.
I would say plant funds.
What is it?
Cellulose provides structural strength to plant roots. The cell.
To plants. Because the plant cells have got cellulosic cell wall. That is true.
Amoeba engulfs in food by the process of osmosis.
Engulfs by the process of osmosis. Wrong. Phagocytosis. Not by the process of osmosis. Phagocytosis. Osmosis is only for water. Amoeba can take in apart from other liquid molecules also. It can take in the planktons which are not liquid.
Cellulose provides structural strength to plants as student.
Why structural strength? Because every plant has got cell wall. Cells have got cell wall. Cell wall is stiff. Last 2 more minutes. Finish up fast.
And mitochondria have its own DNA rhizome.
In the liver cells of vertebrates, SER detoxifies drugs and poison.
True.
Almost everything.
That means you have not studied anything. You are asking me everything almost. forgot in this entire holidays that there is something known as UT, there is something known as biology, there is something known as science. Where did you go for holidays? Rajasthan is your native place.
Nah, like we went by road, so we were there the regional ones.
तो पढ़ाई की नहीं एक आध दिन क्या सेकंड स्टैंडर्ड में हो जो फुल छुट्टी बनाते हो बाहर जाके 9th standard and moving towards 10th में तो पूरी जॉब की छुट्टी पर जाना इतना लंबा now 9th में भी now that you get the holidays Diwali holidays and etc go for a short holiday 3-4 days tell your parents also not to plan long holidays now that you do after 10th 3-4 days go for a short trip and this holidays you should use for completing the backlog and so that you are again at par नहीं तो नहीं manage कर पाओगे yes you don't tell me you tell yourself and tell your parents not to plan long holidays now चलो फटाफट last 2 more minutes after that I will not wait whether you finish or not you have to do that from he's asking everything
are ordinals in which materials such as starch, oil, proteins, etc.
False.
chloroplast has nothing to do with starch
One yeah, like chloroplast.
देखो what does the chromoplast do
That gives color to
Color,
other
glass
glass.
Uroplasts are colorless.
done true false done all what is left now
Very short questions.
how many more
Long.
8,
Not true.
10.
10 questions are there so these 10 questions you'll have to take as homework ठीक है these 10 questions you will take as homework these 10 questions you will take as homework but उनमें से देख लो if there's any question that is doubtful you ask me but you will write it at home check go through the 10 questions I'll give you last 1 minute time
Yeah, you know, 2, 6, 10, 12.
2, 6, 10, 12, 17, 21, 22, 27, 30.
होमवर्क दिया था
कौन सा?
ये
समर वेकेशन में दिया था
नहीं समर वेकेशन के पहले दिया था हम लोगों ने समर वेकेशन करके आना
ये ट्रू फॉल्स किया था.
हाँ नहीं ग्रुप ऑफ अभी किया
अभी कॉल की is involved in the formation of tile.
जो ये ना ये तो क्वेश्चन था
check if you know the answers of all this rest 10 questions draw the diagram with dark all your diagrams need to be dark huh? Ten more questions. You will complete that as homework. Homework नहीं किया garbage हो गया. Don't come and tell me that I did not get time. But out of those 10 questions, if any question is there which you are not very sure about the answer, you can ask. But you will write. Why? Why incomplete?
something like I combine all three requirements, so that's where it's like I'm starting like I wrote all of these biochemistry and physics and one
Did I mention this in the first lecture only?
Yeah.
And still you are coming like this with physics. You are for sure. using this diaries to write down the notes. On top of the roll diagrams in using a pen. Why can't you make a proper notebook? Now see. Packaging of cell structures. See again, you are writing here. I thought you were writing about the osmosis. Tissues you will not write here.
Yes, ma'am.
Tissues you will absolutely not write here. Don't feel like correcting only your book. Let us now start with tissues, a concept of tissues that we understand. What is the definition? Tissues, a group of cells. What are tissues? A group of cells similar or dissimilar in structure. A group of cells similar or dissimilar in structure and performing a common function. Performing a common function. Example, let us talk about some example of tissues. What is the definition I told you just now? A group of cells similar or dissimilar in structure. What is the meaning? I talk about a group of cells which may have all of them, which may have the same structure at the same time. I will talk about a tissue which may be made up of many different types of cells and the structures may be dissimilar. So now that I talk about tissues, you have always come across that tissues means a group of cells, same structure, same function. Not necessary. Function of course would be the same. Structure may not be same. So I would say example of tissues, I would say suppose the xylem is a type of a tissue. Say suppose I'm talking about the xylem is a type of a tissue. I may talk about blood is a type of a tissue, bone is a type of a tissue, etc. So I'm talking about some plant tissues, I'm talking about some animal tissues. Now, as we talk about the concept of tissues, let us divide. What are we going to study under the concept of tissues? What are we going to study? Classification of tissues. How are we going to do classification of tissues? To start with, we are talking about tissues here. Plant tissues. Say suppose we start with plant tissues. Plant tissues, what are the categories we are going to study? Plant tissues, we are going to study meristematic. Plant tissues, majorly we are studying meristematic and permanent. Plant tissues, we are studying meristematic and permanent tissues. Meristematic tissues, we are going to study three types. What are the three types of meristematic tissues? We will study apical meristematic tissues. We will study lateral meristematic tissues. We will study intercalary meristematic tissues. We will study three types of meristematic tissues. Permanent tissues, now that we talk about the divisions of the permanent tissues, we will talk about permanent tissues can be categorized as simple permanent and complex permanent. Subdivisions of simple permanent to talk about. Subdivisions of simple permanent to talk about. I may talk about simple permanent like parenchyma. I talk about simple permanent like collenchyma. I talk about simple permanent like sclerenchyma. So three types of permanent tissues. But they are simple permanent, I said. These are simple permanent. Then what about the complex permanent tissues? What are the types? We talk about complex permanent tissues, two types of complex permanent tissues. One is known as the xylem and the other is known as the phloem. This is what we will be studying. What about the other side? We talk about animal tissues. What are we going to study under the concept of animal tissues? Under the concept of animal tissues, let us talk about the four types that we have to study. We will study the epithelial tissues. We will study the connective tissues, epithelial, connective. We will talk about muscular, we will talk about nervous. So now we are talking about all these types of tissues that we are going to study one after the other. So plant tissues, what are the two types? We are studying meristematic and permanent. Meristematic tissues can be of three more subtypes. Get acquainted with the names first. Apical, intercalary, and lateral. Permanent tissues, simple and complex, and then we are going to talk about three types of simple, two types of complex. And that side, animal tissues, four types of animal tissues. Yes, sir. Collenchyma, COLLENCHYMA. We are going to start with a concept of meristematic tissues. I'm going to start with that first. That's the first type of animal tissue, plant tissues. I start with the first type of tissues known as meristematic. We talk about the first type of plant tissues, meristematic. Meristematic. Now that I'm talking about meristematic tissues, try understanding what are some of the properties of meristematic tissues. What are some of the nature of the cell? Now that I talk about tissues, are we talking about a group of cells? Understand. Where are you? Now that I'm talking about tissue, am I talking about group of cells? Yes. We are talking about a group of cells. Now these group of cells that we understand, this group of cells, what would be some of their features? Meristematic tissues, when I say, what are some of their features? Cells are fast dividing cells. Cells are fast dividing cells. That is one major feature, most important feature of the meristematic cells. Then they do not have intercellular spaces. They do not have intercellular spaces. Intercellular spaces are absent. Meristematic tissue cells are fast dividing, intercellular spaces are absent, and they help in growth of the plant. Primary, secondary growth of the plant. So when I talk about meristematic tissues, what basically to understand the cells which make up the meristematic tissues are the fast dividing cells. So at the same time, when I understand the cells are small, the cells are basically small. The cells are basically small, and we will understand, yes, the cell wall is thin and made up of cellulose. Cell wall is thin and made up of cellulose. Made up of cellulose. So this would be some of the features to understand. This would be some of the features to understand. What type of tissues are we talking about? What type of cellular structures we are talking about? What type of cellular structures we are talking about? Meristematic tissue cells are fast dividing, no intercellular spaces. They basically help in growth. And cells are small, cell wall is made up of cellulose. Now this is a general feature that we are talking about, meristematic tissues. Now we'll have to take it up now the other way. Now next we are going to study the different types of meristematic. What are the three types of meristematic I have written down here? Apical, lateral, intercalary. What are the parameters you are going to study as per your syllabus? Location, where they found. Function, what do they do? And if any special feature they have. So these are the three parameters only you have to study. You have to take up in the next class.
What have you written like in simple? What are the three?
Simple, parenchyma, P-A-R-E-N-C-H-Y-M-A, parenchyma. Colon, C-O-L-L-E-N. Scleren, S-C-L-E-R-E-N. S-C-L-E-R-E-N. I will write on again when we take one, each one of them. Complete your homework. Homework means homework now. Now I'm going to be now I'll have to be very straight. Now one chapter is over. I give you enough flexibility. You don't finish your homework, I'll send you home. You finish. Very good.
No, I'm
But you will not bring the diary.
yes.
You are a student, bring a proper notebook. When you start doing a job like us, then you roam around with a diary.
अरे हाँ लिखा याद लिखा लिख लो अरे नहीं क्या हुआ ना मैंने सोचा था कि इतनी सारी बुक क्यों लेके आना एक ही लेके आते हैं फिर एक में मैंने सब कुछ कर लिया
भाई जो मुझे मजा आ रहा था इसके उठाए मैं हंस रहा था इधर भाई नहीं हंस रहा था
एक मेरा हो गया उसके बाद मेरे को मालूम पड़ गया कि स्पेस ही नहीं फिर मैं वापस अभी हर एक का करके अलग बनाया मैं क्या करूँगा